Now, I like cars. I like fast cars. I like pretty cars. But most of all, I like interesting cars. And let's be honest, sometimes interesting can be a euphemism for downright weird. We're talking about those automotive oddities that make you slam on the brakes and ask yourself, what in the bloody hell were they thinking? From cars shaped like oversized shoes, to vehicles that look like they just landed from outer space, today, we're strapping in for a wild ride through the bizarre and wonderful world of the 10 weirdest cars ever built. These designs will make you chuckle, scratch your head, and maybe even question the sanity of the brilliant minds that dreamt them up. So, buckle up, petrolheads, and get ready for a bumpy ride. Let's roll. Our first contender hails from Germany, the BMW Isetta, affectionately nicknamed the bubble car. Picture this, it's the 1950s. Post-war Europe is desperate for affordable personal transport, and BMW decides the answer is a car that looks like it was designed by a toddler with a crayon. The Isetta is tiny, smaller than your average refrigerator tiny. And the real kicker? The entire front end of the car hinges open for entry and exit. You don't open a door, you open the entire bloody car. It's undeniably adorable with its bug-eyed headlights and cheerful demeanor. And in an era of fuel shortages, its tiny engine sipped petrol slower than a nun at a pub crawl. But practical? Let's just say, if you value your personal space, you might want to give this one a miss. Still, you've got to admire the Isetta for its sheer audacity. It's a car that throws conventional design wisdom out the window and replaces it with a big dollop of why not. Forget your smart cars and your Fiat 500S. The Peel P50 is the world's smallest production car, just 54 inches long and 41 inches wide. You could park it sideways in an average space. Driving it is an intimate experience. It even has a handle to carry it around. Not practical, but a true conversation starter. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. The Fiat Multipla is often called one of the ugliest cars ever. Its design is baffling, like a stretched-out Mini Cooper, but it seats 6 adults comfortably. It's fuel-efficient and fun to drive. An ugly duckling or a misunderstood masterpiece? You decide. The Amphicar Model 770. Making waves or sinking like a stone. Some of you might enjoy a leisurely afternoon fishing. Others might prefer a relaxing cruise along a scenic river. But why choose one or the other when you can have both? That's the question the brilliant minds at Amphicar asked themselves back in the 1960s. Their answer came in the form of the Amphicar Model 770, a car that's also a boat. Imagine cruising down the highway, the wind in your hair, the sun on your face, when suddenly you get the urge to take a dip in that inviting-looking lake just off the road. No problem. Simply locate a suitable entry point, engage the Amphicar's twin propellers, and glide gracefully into the water. On paper, it sounds like the ultimate expression of automotive freedom. In reality, the Amphicar was about as successful as a chocolate teapot. Despite its flaws, the Amphicar remains an icon of automotive ingenuity and a testament to the human desire to conquer both land and sea. The Pontiac Aztek, from zero to hero. Thanks to Walter White? Ah, the Pontiac Aztek, a car so polarizing it makes a Prius look like a Ferrari. When it first hit the streets in the early 2000s, the Aztek was met with a collective groan from the automotive community. Its awkward, angular styling quickly earned it a spot on numerous ugliest cars lists. But then, something miraculous happened. A little show called Breaking Bad came along, and Walter White chose the Aztek as his ride of choice. Suddenly, this automotive pariah was thrust into the spotlight, becoming an unlikely symbol of Walter's transformation from mild-mannered family man to ruthless drug lord. Thanks to its Breaking Bad fame, the Aztek has gone from being the butt of countless jokes to a cult classic, with a dedicated following of fans who appreciate its quirky charm and surprisingly practical interior. Nissan S-Cargo, snail trailblazer or just plain slow. Some cars are designed for speed, others are designed for luxury. And then there's the Nissan S-Cargo, a car designed to, well, resemble a snail. This bizarre little van, produced for a brief period in the early 1990s, takes its design cues from the humble gastropod. Even its name escargot is a play on the French word for snail escargot. Now, I'm all for a bit of whimsy in car design, but the escargot takes it to a whole new level. Despite its unconventional looks, the escargot was actually a surprisingly practical little van with a spacious cargo area and a surprisingly tight turning circle. Of course, with a top speed of just 75 miles per hour, you weren't going to win any races in an escargot. But as a delivery van with a difference, or a mobile advertisement for your local escargot restaurant, the escargot was in a league of its own. 4 wheels good? 6 wheels better? That seems to be the philosophy behind the Covini C6W, a sports car that throws convention out the window and replaces it with an extra set of wheels. It looks like a cross between a Lamborghini and a Spider, with those 4 front wheels giving it a distinctly insectoid appearance. You might be thinking, why on earth would anyone need 6 wheels on a car? Well, according to Covini, the extra wheels offer a number of benefits, including improved braking, increased traction, and reduced risk of aquaplaning. And let's be honest, it looks absolutely mental. And sometimes, that's all the justification you need. Imagine yourself cruising down the French Riviera in this 6-wheeled beast, turning heads like a supermodel at a tractor pull. Of course, with a price tag north of $500,000, the Covini C6W is firmly in the realm of fantasy for most of us. But hey, a petrolhead can dream, can't he? Stout Scarab, the Art Deco minivan that time forgot. Long before Chrysler invented the minivan as we know it, there was the Stout Scarab, a car so far ahead of its time, it might as well have been beamed down from another planet. Designed in the 1930s by William B. Stout, an aviation engineer who clearly had a thing for curves, the Scarab looks like a cross between a vintage Airstream trailer and a loaf of sourdough bread. Its aerodynamic Art Deco styling was unlike anything else on the road at the time, and its spacious, customizable interior, complete with swiveling seats and a fold-out table, was more akin to a mobile living room than a car. Unfortunately, the Scarab's futuristic design and hefty price tag meant it was a commercial flop, with only 9 examples ever built. But as a testament to one man's vision of the future of automotive travel, the Stout Scarab remains a fascinating and beautiful oddity. General Motors. Firebird Monty, from runway to road almost. In the 1950s, America was obsessed with all things futuristic. We're talking flying cars, robot butlers, and of course, jet-powered everything. So it's no surprise that General Motors decided to create a car inspired by the sleek, powerful jets that were capturing the nation's imagination. The result was the General Motors Firebird 1, a concept car that looked less like a car and more like a jet fighter that had lost its wings. With its pointed nose, bubble canopy, and massive tail fin, the Firebird I looked like it was ready to blast off into the stratosphere. And with a 370 horsepower Whirlfire turbo-power gas turbine engine under its fiberglass body, it wasn't just a pretty face. As a symbol of America's post-war optimism and its fascination with the future, the General Motors Firebird 1 remains an icon of automotive design. Reliant Robin. 3 wheels. Too many jokes. And now for the grand finale, the car that needs no introduction, the undisputed king of quirky, the one and only Reliant Robin. This 3-wheeled wonder, hailing from the land of warm beer and questionable cuisine, has been the butt of jokes for decades, and for good reason. It's small, it's plasticky, and its propensity for tipping over is the stuff of legend. But beneath that flimsy fiberglass body and those wobbly wheels lies a car that's as endearing as it is ridiculous. The Reliant Robin was born out of necessity. In post-war Britain, there was a need for cheap, fuel-efficient transportation, and the Robin fit the bill perfectly. Of course, the Robin's handling was, shall we say, interesting. Its single front wheel meant that cornering at anything above a crawl required nerves of steel and a deft touch on the steering wheel. But for those brave souls who dared to tame this 3-wheeled beast, the Reliant Robin offered a unique and unforgettable driving experience. Well, there you have it, folks. A whirlwind tour of the weirdest, wackiest, and most wonderful cars ever to grace, or perhaps disgrace, our roads. From tiny bubble cars to six-wheeled behemoths, these automotive oddities prove that sometimes the most memorable cars are the ones that break all the rules. So which one of these mechanical mavericks would you be brave enough to take for a spin? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this wild ride through the world of automotive eccentricity, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, share it with your fellow petrol heads, and subscribe to the channel for more amazing car content. Hit that bell icon to stay updated, and I'll see you in the next one.